Good afternoon and welcome to Build with Pandora. I remain Kende Ruth Onoshiga, the Principal Consultant at Pandora Global Agency, a marketing and communications agency based out of Lagos, Nigeria. And today marks day 14 of this series where we've been discussing and talking about ways to effectively maximize as well as efficiently carry out your marketing activities, campaigns, concepts, whatever it is, as long as it's within the marketing niche. All right, I'm just going to get into it. This is going to be a really short session today. So yesterday we started by answering certain Q&As sent in by viewers, sent in by business owners, looking to get more clarity as to their marketing efforts. One of the questions that we addressed yesterday was how do I reach more people, directing my messages to the right audience, and we pretty much clarified that. So if you'd like to see that video, you can go back to yesterday's session. I believe it's on YouTube as well as LinkedIn now. Second question we addressed was how do I maintain customer relationships, and in-depth analysis was given in that regard. And the third question was social media that is more effective for promoting my business. So I assumed that meant what social media was going to be more effective to promote the person's business. And in response to these questions, I provided quite a number of context, right, in addressing the questions. So today we're going to go right into it and we're going to answer some more of these questions. So I selected about 4 questions in which I'm going to be answering this afternoon. The first question goes thus: how do I stand out from my competitors? Pretty much a classic way to stand out from your competitors, in which I have, in my experience, noticed is number one, ensuring brand consistency, and this would mean that within the niche of the market that you serve, you're addressing concerns, you're addressing the needs of your customers there, as well as visibility of your brand's aesthetics. So what does your brand aesthetic look like? Are you deviating from it? Are you embodying colors that was not originally affiliated with your brand? So brand aesthetics and the consistency of it is very, very important, very important. And that's why when you're building a business plan, you're pretty much informed to, so what is the why that drives you in creating this business? One, what is your value proposition? And so on and so forth. So this is how you pretty much deduce this. We can go into more details concerning those in subsequent videos. So another way to stand out from your competitors, aside from building a very good brand identity as well as aesthetics, is to ensure that the quality of service that you provide is consistent. Is very, very important, and that's because people can easily trust that they'll come to you and they'll receive the same quality of service any single time. I will give a classic example of a restaurant in Lagos. I believe the first time I visited this restaurant in Lagos, I heard a lot of hypes about the restaurant. But subsequently, every single time I've gone there in the last about 3 years, the quality of service has been the same thing. And I am definitely not looking to go to any other restaurant that offers that particular niche product, except that restaurant. And that's because the quality of service, the food, the menu, the taste, which is very rare, to be honest. But these guys have been able to consistently maintain that brand promise of delivering great local food. All right, another way to stand out from your competitor is to provide content, great content. Now, this content can take different formats. It can be educative content, it can be informational content, it can be informational content, right? One way in which, and this applied, and this is a case study we actually carried out for clients within the agricultural space, livestock farming to be precise. One way this client was able to garner a lot of I say community members, one, two, a lot of stakeholders, because we went on to actually do quite a bit with this client with regards to the audience, was in the provision of educative content. So the livestock area is somewhere people do not really know what's going on. They are not as familiar with, the impact of livestock to their everyday health, as well as how they can actually earn a living from it. So we took it from the angle of educational content, and we consistently do that, and the results pretty much spoke for itself. People wanted to be educated, especially with things that they are not familiar with and it applies to their everyday life. So this was a very good this was a very good direction for that particular brand in which we actually worked on. So the sort of content format, the sort of content pillars you actually create is very important, and will definitely can't stand you out from your competitors because get valuable information. The next question you're going to be asking is, what do you do? Is this a service that you provide? All right. Another way to stand out from your competitors is to ensure that you look at what your competitors are doing, to be honest. And that way you can easily say that if they're providing this value proposition, I can definitely provide a better value proposition, and ensure that you provide a better value proposition by being consistent in delivering the results. That's another way. It's called competitors analysis, one we actually carry out within the marketing strategy framework. So pretty much those are the tips I'm going to give during this particular video. So I don't want to spend so much time addressing each question. So I'm going to move on to the next question, right? And this question talks about, how do I address my customer feedback and meet the expectations? This is a very good question because customers are very, very important to the overall growth and health of an organization, or rather an organization actually even existing in the first place. Customers are very important. Now, customers, in addressing customers' feedback, you want to know first of all what are their pain points, what are they going through, what are what experiences are they having with the products that you provide or the services that you give. An example is also a case study of a lifestyle store. This is a particularly niche market that deals with healthy lifestyle produce. So they actually they sell imported healthy lifestyle produce. And one issue that we're having with that was customers' return policy, right? Customers would want to return the product, especially if they're not familiar with the brand, and so on and so forth. So this became an issue for the owner, and the owner sought advice on how she could go about it. And it was pretty much simple, right? And that's because you can never tell where the product has been to, once it leaves the store. So a certain policy had to be put in place to ensure that you have to return the produce or not before. Sort of like, again, a return policy in which most people actually know about. It applies to a lot of industries, not all, but a lot of industries. You have to return the produce at a certain point in time for it to be valid, and for that, there's going to be an exchange, and not a cash exchange, but an exchange in itself. So that's an example of a customer feedback, right? As well as how to address that sort of issues. Another can be as simple as maybe a customer having issues ordering an item from your website, and they need clarity as to how to do that. First of all, that should not be, because you have to consistently ensure that your website is accessible if you're in a e-commerce store, and that would mean you're constantly on top of things to ensure that you convert really. So that's pretty much one way. So how do I address my customer feedback? It's being open, number one, rather number two, being open to the feedback. Most times business owners are very passionate about their business and they be closed off to feedback. But if it's towards the growth of the organization, you should understand that you know what feedback to receive and what to filter out, especially as it applies to the growth of your company. So that's very, very key as well. And I'm going to move on to the third question. And the third question goes thus. I would like to ask, what are the requirements to host a market rally in Lagos? This is a very interesting question. The requirements are very, very simple, I believe. But please cross-check this information because they change regularly. To host a rally in Lagos, you would have to have an MOT permit. So that's the from the Ministry of Transportation. You have to have a LASA permit as well. I believe that's the signage agency from Lagos State as well. If you're going to be doing this rally in certain streets, you have to ensure that I believe the Lamata team now, the transportation team, and extension of MOT, they're aware of it. And if you need to hire added resources such as, the Federal Road Safety Commission guys, so FIRS, you know what I'm talking about. I can't quite remember their names now. You would need to confirm from them as well before you proceed. So it's really dicey, and it depends really on the region and the areas in Lagos. Some are more straightforward than others, and some are more clear than others. In some cases, you actually also need to get permits from the market itself. Okay. So it's very important you get clarity on this before you proceed. Um, so for the fourth and final question, how do I extend to people who need my products in the diaspora? This is also a very good question, and it's about understanding the foundation. How do you know that they need your products in the diaspora? Are you getting a lot of requests asking for these products in the diaspora? Very important. And that's because you do not want to initiate the process. Meanwhile, there are no end users, there are no customers in the region that you're looking to actually ship this product to. So it's very important to understand what the needs of your customers are. Do they need your products? Do you have your target audience within those markets you're looking to start shipping, right? And understand what the value of the items are over there, versus shipping from here and the final cost, the final landing cost, once it gets there. All these are very nuanced information that you should be very, very cognizant of. And if you've done this already, it's really just having an understanding of what the shipping cost would be, what the shipping process would be, what the shipping cost would be, the clearing cost would be, and also the final destination, which is to the customer, because at the end of the day, you have to ensure the product actually gets to the customers. So once you've got some clarity on this, I believe you can pretty much start and take things off from there. So I'm going to stop here today. Again, if you have any questions that you'd like me to address with regards to marketing and communications, I'll be more than happy to do that. Thank you for joining me today.